Hello, everyone. The next full moon is going to be either on January 17th or the 18th, depending where you live. In London, if you consider the London time, it's going to be at just a little couple of minutes before midnight on the 17th. And for instance, here in Budapest, where I live currently, it's only in the small hours on the 18th. So let's look at the London chart and some of the features I'm going to show you. Of course, I'm not going to list all the full and new moons because obviously that would be a lot of work and also it's immaterial really. I'm going to select whichever I think I find important. And this particular one is important because the Liliths are very prominent and some of the fixed stars are also very prominent. As you probably know by now that full moons are about fulfillment, completion, about delivering something, either a baby or a project, finishing, completing stuff. And the Cancer-Capricorn angle is of course on, first of all, on the family values and also on structures, on the community. The smaller nucleus of the community, of course, is the family, but the larger one is the nation. And it's at the end of the signs. The exact position is 27 degrees 50. And as you can see, it's 12 minutes before midnight. Now, if you look at the chart, again, just to show you how interesting this is, the sun is conjunct Pluto, and Pluto is still conjunct Juno. So there's a triple conjunction on the sun. Sun-Pluto conjunctions are very strong. It's one of the magician aspects. It's your personal magician. This is what I say. If you have a beneficial aspect conjunction, trine, sextile, bidirectional quincunx, or one of the quinti series, then you are a magician. You know how to transform stuff, transmute stuff to your benefit. If it's a square or an opposition, this is something that you need to learn through constant trial and error. But this is a conjunction. So yeah, today or on the eve of the 17th or the small hours of the 18th, depending on where you are, you can actually utilize the power of the magician, especially if you have placements around 26, 28 degrees of the signs, because then the sun Pluto is going to be emanating and pulsating throughout your energy pattern. What else is here? There's a Neptune Pallas Athena conjunction still. There's a Lilith Aries conjunction. The triple conjunction of the Ceres Sedna North Node is still there. These were the past couple of days main features which are still important. What is important besides the full moon, that on the next day, on the 18th, the nodal axis changes sign. In the last 1.5 years, it was in Sagittarius and Gemini, and it was about knowledge, getting information. Actually, Gemini is the sign to describe how you get information, how you put together the pieces, the bits and pieces. It's also the sign of the media. It's also the sign of learning abilities and how to actually educate yourself. Whereas Sagittarius is the synthesis of knowledge. So it was about knowledge. And if you think back, this was the year of the pandemic, which now they are already talking about downscaling it, because obviously, no matter what they do, it turns out that the vaccines are not really effective, to say the least. Some of the people who are getting the booster shots are getting very sick. I'm not an epidemiologist. I'm not a doctor. I don't want to say anything regarding the pandemic itself. I know that there's some sort of phoniness in it, the way they shut down the whole world of economy and how they treat the people. And I understand that the people won't put up with this for a long time. And with this Omicron version, which seems to be quite mild, although it also could have very strong symptoms, somehow I think that it's going to die down. This is my take on the whole thing. And the full moon is, of course, about completion. So this might be really the end of this whole madness. And as the nodal axis moves into Taurus and Scorpio, the South Node in Scorpio will ask us to go deep down into the subconscious psyche, the underworld of the psyche, to bring up the emotions that are hidden there and face them. And the North Node in Taurus will be about what you do about your resources, about your harmony, about your well-being, what you know about amassing the minimum of well-being, really, be it material or other resources. So this is what we need to do now: concentrate on our own well-being and our loved ones' well-being. So let's take a look at some of the features that I wanted to highlight for you. We have a number of important fixed stars, some of which I also show with these drawings that I took from Constellations of Worlds. It's a wonderful site, and I just highlighted some of the important stars, and really there are very important stars. I put down the name of the star, the conjunction itself. With fixed stars, we only look at conjunctions, tight conjunctions within 1 degree. Sorry, for me 2 degrees is only valid for the so-called 3 key celestial areas, because those are huge supermassive black holes and not just one singular star. And these are higher dimensional worlds, of course. So we look at conjunctions, and we look at also parallels, which I'm not showing you here. So I'm not even talking about that. So here's what I enumerated: the planet, the star, the constellation, and the magnitude. Now, if you can take a look at the magnitudes, all are very bright stars. Even Gumium is 3.9, that's still considered a bright star. The closer to the 0, those are the brightest. And until 6, we can see by the naked eye. Only, of course, when the circumstances are perfect. There's no moon. There are no clouds in the sky. It's no pollution and no air pollution. That's when you can see stars up till 6 magnitude. Above 6, you don't see anything by the naked eye. So here are the ones. And a stellar is Zeta Sagittarius. It is the position on Sagittarius, the celestial archer, which we call the belly button of the centaur. And this is where the conscious and subconscious, the human and the animal side of the celestial being is joined. That those are the 2 signs where they are joined. So it's like it combines the centaur's animal instinctual behavior with the divine energies of the when you consider Chiron, he was half divine, half animal, really. So that's one thing, and it's conjunct Venus. And then you have Brumium, which is C Draco, not a particularly bright star, but still visible. And Draco is a constellation around the pole star. Here's the pole star, and here's the Little Dipper. And the constellation Draco has always been associated with wealth, with hidden treasures, and wealth and treasures are not just real treasures, but also figurative treasures. So whatever you are hiding, whatever the celestial dragon is guarding. Of course, if you go to tales, fairy tales, the dragon is always living in some sort of cave, and in the cave you find the treasure, and this is what the dragon is guarding. And if you look at Grumium, it is really the mouth of the dragon, and the mouth is by which you express yourself. So it means that you can find actual treasures while this conjunction is going on. It's actually an alignment, because Draco is a northern constellation. It's always up in the sky. It's a circumpolar constellation, so nothing can be actually conjunct it, only aligned, because only when you have a constellation that is zodiacal can you say that a planet is conjunct a star. Otherwise, it's just aligned. Bernard Brady wrote about this way back in 2006 in one of her newsletters. This is what she suggested. Now, Mars is aligned with Grumium, and Mars is the will. So the will to speak out, the will to talk about treasures, or to actually highlight treasures. That is what the space-time moment tells us. Jupiter is aligned with two very important stars. One is actually a constellation on the zodiac, and it's Aquarius, and the other one is beneath it. I'm going to show it to you. I tried to find a picture where the southern fish is still part of Aquarius. It used to be, now there are two constellations, and Sana Melek is the alpha star of Aquarius. The whole constellation of Aquarius is linked to luck, because these stars, Sana Melek and Sana Sud, are the luckiest stars. Sana Melek means the luck of the king, or the king's luck, and Fuma Haut, which is the alpha star of the southern fish, which is actually in the flow of Aquarius's water, and this is considered to be the flow of eternal life. So those are two important stars. One is linked to luck, and Fuma Haut is one of the so-called royal stars of Persia. And these four royal stars bring you success and happiness in various forms. But there's always something that you need to stay away from. Fuma Haut is linked to either artistic or esoteric knowledge, but you need to stay there and not be prone to dreaming. So you need to be staying in the here and now and take responsibility for those abilities. And then the nodal axis is also on two important territories in the sky. The north node is on the Pleiades. I will show you, I actually found a couple of pictures of the Pleiades, so I'm going to show you the whole constellation. And then Toliman is, again, on Alpha Centaurus, that Toliman is on the south node. And Toliman, I don't know, I probably have a picture of that as well. Here's the centaur. So actually two centaurs are again very prominent in this particular full moon. And here's Toliman, the alpha star of the centaur. And the whole constellation Centaur, which is a southern constellation, so you don't see it in the northern hemisphere, is linked to either learning from your karmic wounds or healing. So this is one of the main healing words of Chiron, actually. And then the Black Moonlight is on Bellatrix, which is the one of the stars of the Gamma star of Orion, and these are the shoulders of the celestial hunter. And the Bellatrix denotes success through the shadow, while the other pair, Betelgeuse, is unlimited success. So this remains a star. It's actually very much in harmony with Lilith, who leaves the Garden of Eden, hides somewhere, and waits until she can come back in the form of the serpent. and help Eve to become what she needs to become. But Bellatrix is, again, the hiding energy that you can be successful from the shadow, not pushing yourself in front. So these are our fixed star placements of this particular full moon. Here are the constellations. Here's a cellar. And okay, and here are the Pleiades. So this is a beautiful picture of the Pleiades. It's a tiny constellation. It's the tiniest of the constellations, really. It used to be part of Taurus. And actually, you don't have alpha, beta, gamma, delta, whatever. You have numbers there originally, because they were part of the whole Taurus constellation. And these are quite bright stars, not all of them. It's so the story, of course, is Atlas and his wife Cleone and their 7 daughters, 7 sisters, of course. And here you can see again the magnitude numbers. So, for instance, the brightest star is Alcyon, and then comes Atlas and Electra. Those and Maya, those are very bright, and even Merope, those you can actually see by the naked eye. Seleneo is barely visible, and then Asterope is not visible. So that is the Pleiades. And here are the Liliths. This chart is made for London. So the Grand Cross is only there for Londoners and in the area. And but you can actually relocate the full moon chart anywhere, and you can see what crops up. What is really prominent is the Liliths in this chart. And I might remind you that I do have a couple of videos out there about explaining to you about the 3 astrological Liliths. But just to brush up your memory, there's the asteroid Lilith. In the story, it's the revolt against injustice. At the moment, it is conjunct Aries. So it's a very disruptive energy. Aries is drastically altered outward circumstances, and Lilith is revolt against injustice. So this particular full moon will probably bring a lot of revolts, a lot of marches and protests and whatever. You will see, especially in London, because it's going to be in a Grand Cross. Opposite them is the Dark Moonlight, which in the Lilith story is about in the story, it is the moment when Lilith doesn't go back and accepts Yahweh's curse. So it's the acceptance of the curse. It's the type of attitude when you don't do whatever is expected from you to do, and you don't care for the consequences. You don't care even if you get a lot of curses and things like that. So you can imagine it's a disruptive energy. And then there's also the MCIC, of course, involved in this Grand Cross. It's a cardinal Grand Cross in London, for London again. So, and the Grand Cross is highlighted by the sun and the moon, of course. And there's also a mutable air engine, which means that the square is mutable, and the trine is in an air sign involving Palestinian Neptune, which means wise dreams, or dreams filled with wisdom. The Black Moon Lilith, which is the moment in the myth when Lilith goes back into the Garden of Eden in the form of a serpent and resolves the problem, the issue that Eve needs to learn. And this requires, of course, presaging the knowledge of what is happening in the walled garden, and also courage and stamina to be able to do that. And Black Moon is trining the Dark Moon as well. So that's the engine. That's the engine part. And then you also have a dissolved opposition with the Dark Moon Lilith opposite asteroid Lilith and Aries. And again, this is dissolved by the Black Moon. So this is it. It is a particularly strong full moon. And watch the news. I will also do that, and I'm wondering how the Lilith myth surfaced in world events, especially in London, when it becomes really, really prominent with the that ground cross on the MCIC and the two luminaries illuminating the whole thing. Thank you for listening and happy full moon. Bye-bye.